Welcome back to Young Truck Reactions. The next video we're going to do is 19 people indicted after rapping about unaliving people. Let's get into it.
He just indicted the whole West Philly laundry. I was booked for all these years, so I didn't know what was going on. They just indicted the whole West Philly laundry. I was booked for all these years, so I didn't know what was going on. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, I was booked, so I ain't know the severity of this shit. These little niggas was wilding the fuck out. Like, they was going crazy. Like, we might have one of the safest summers that we seen in a long time off of strength of this indictment. This indictment got everybody low-key scared to even be in the street. If you smart, this indictment got you ready to change your whole life around, because them niggas, they'll let you rock for a couple years and then just come get everybody. And now they got way more than enough evidence to cook your biscuit for the rest of your life. Like, hopefully this is a wake-up call for all the youngins, bro. The streets is not it. You could rock for literally a few years. You'll think you having your way, you'll get famous, you'll be popping and all that. But when them feds is watching you, bro, they gonna let you rock, and then they gonna come grab everybody. And then it ain't even like you could beat the shit, because they just let y'all rock for 3-4 years. They have everything on camera, all the DMs, all the messages, the phone calls, everything. They literally let y'all commit crimes for years just so they could bury y'all. Young bulls, wake up.
He's telling y'all the truth. I've seen so many people that I grew up with, whether we was from the same hood or we wound up getting into the same college together, and then they wind up going a different way. It's guys that I went to high school with that's literally locked up for the rest of their life. For life. It's guys that had scholarships, football scholarships and stuff like that. They wind up going to prison. They just now getting out in their 40s. It's crazy. And so the last thing that you want to do as a young person, as a young man, is to throw your life away just so you can try to prove something in the streets. And how many times have we had people that come on these platforms and say, hey, listen, it ain't worth it. You don't want to do this. This is not something that you want to be a part of. You think that you're young and you're going to be having your way forever. And then young people be like, oh, my God, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a thug. I don't care, whatever. I don't care if I go to jail and all of this other type of stuff. It's not worth it, bro.
And it's really not. I do a lot of prison stories, too. I do, regular content, like stuff like this. I do like prison stories, where I react to prison stories regarding people who've been to prison. I just even had one that I just did, that you guys may see before this or within the same time period, where one guy was in prison with another guy that he thought was his friend, and the inmates basically had a prison riot, set the prison on fire. This is out in Virginia. And the guy that I do a lot of reactions to a lot of his content was telling this story about this guy who, this one guy was thinking that he was his friend and rocking with him and whatnot. And the guy that he thought was his friend, he thought he was coming to save him during the riot, like trying to come and help him, because this guy, he's a young white guy, hasn't really been in a lot of trouble in his life, or maybe only been to jail a couple of times, but never been to prison until now. For obviously he did something so crazy. This is a young white guy, and he was kicking it with this, I guess, this, young black guy, and he thought he was coming to save him. And the guy was reaching and grabbing everything that he felt was important. And the guy stepped into his cell and closed the door and he had on a mask, but he knew it was the guy because he could tell from his eyes, because the only thing that you could see was his eyes. And all of a sudden he started doing things to the guy and forcing his way onto the guy, treating him like he was a girl, trying to do things that you would only do with a woman with him. And he said, dude, I thought we were friends. Why are you doing this to me? And he said, well, you should have never came to prison. And this would have never happened to you. And it's not only, this is not something that only happens to, Caucasian people. So I'm not making it being racist. I'm just telling, the story of the guy, because I've seen cases of, hearing stories from the guy that I watch, or a couple of people that I watch on these social media platforms, telling their stories about them being in prison, where things have happened to black guys by other black guys, or got into it with a white guy and the white guy beat them up and all that too. So let's not make it seem like I'm saying that. But in a lot of cases, and if you listen to a lot of prison stories, they will say a lot of things that the worst things do happen to the Caucasian people. And that's on both sides, men and women prisons. But yeah, it's just like I said, this guy, how he pushed him into the cell and treated him like how he would treat a girl that he liked. Not forcibly, but you know what I mean? Like, he was acting like he was his girlfriend. Acting like the dude was his girlfriend. Doing that type of thing with him. And then there's another story of this woman that had her son go to prison, and he was terrified, never really been to prison before. Another guy that's only been to jail, and he ends up in prison because he had done stuff too many times, or did something that's absolutely crazy. I think he, if I remember right from this story, he went with some friends or somebody and did a robbery or whatnot, and I think somebody got unalived, and he basically got a life sentence, for that. And he was telling his mom that he was terrified, and she happened to remember a guy that she dated like back in high school or whatnot. And she's like, look for such and such because he's there on the same compound as you. I used to talk to him when I was young, used to like date him, whatever, so forth and so forth. So he finds the guy and whatnot, and he moves, tells people to leave him alone because he's been down for a long time. And then he feels that, the guy, he looked out for me and whatnot. Maybe I should be over there more with him. So then he moves over there with him and whatnot. And then, first he's just living over there in a different cell. And then eventually, they tell the administration, that they're connected. And, he tells the business that, he, used to date dude's mom and whatever. And then they move him in the same cell. And then, I'm not even going to ruin the rest of that story, but let's just say, after having relations with the mom out on the street, he was having relations with the son too. But I'll let that story, once I release that story, come out. It'll be probably before this. Since I'm saying this, I'll probably release that before I release this. But that just tells you how, you know, in prison, it's just crazy. Anything goes down, anything happens. Um, just like I just told you. I think there was uh, a story too that a guy, he was out here, you know, blasting up people's houses, with those push button machines and taking people's cars and all that. And when he got to prison, I remember now. The another story was another guy who was out here in the streets where he was part of some type of gang, and he was robbing people with his friends, and breaking into houses and unaliving people, and just doing everything under the sun. And when he went to prison, the police and the feds and them was telling that his friends already snitched and everything, and his friends never snitched, and he was the main guy. He was the main guy orchestrating everything. He was the head leader out here in the streets for that gang group. And he was the one who told, and when he got to prison, they found out that he told, they beat him up and stomped him out and did everything under the sun to him. And he kept moving from one part of the yard to the other because, they would beat him up. He would have to go to the infirmary. He would have to go to the hospital. He had to be fighted to the hospital. He almost was sent to the upper room. And, he kept like, I'm not going to go check in. I'm not going to go to solitary confinement. Basically sometimes it's going to jail in jail, which is like you're in jail already, but you can go to jail in jail. They have it's called solitary confinement. You can be locked down for 23 hours a day and only get out for 1 hour, usually to take a shower, and you're right back in. But also people go there for protection, and obviously you get more freedom when you're there just for protection because people are after you, versus if you did something bad, you're locked down really for 23 and 1. If you go there because people are trying to hurt you, then obviously you'll get regular treatment, and just have, more protection because you're in solitary confinement. But he did not want to check in, and he nearly almost was sent to the upper room, because he wanted to hold it down and try to hold up his flag, his street flag. And prison is very, very different. Once he told on his group, that was it. You ain't part of them no more. They want to take you out. It's not worth it to be a part of no gang or be deep out here in these streets. It's better to go get a job. It's better to own your own business. It's better to start a business. It's better to, work multiple jobs if you have to. Work a job where one job is paying you every week, the other job is paying you every 2 weeks. It's better to do that, because that job that pay you every week is almost similar to getting paid out here on the street, because you get paid every week. It's just that taxes is coming out, and you can't just get it when you want to get it every day, any day, whenever. Shoot, there's apps now where you can cash out a part of your check every day if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's crazy, yo. But those are some stories that I have coming out soon that will tell you that this is not the life that you really want to live. It's really not. just hearing the story about the guy where he was the title of the video, I can't wait to release it, is he was feared in the streets, but terrified in prison. Bull, bull. Let's get back into it.
It ain't never been worth it. I know that we glorify in this culture the streets, and we glorify all, you got to have your stripes up and all of that stuff. Bro, that's for the birds, man. That ain't never been cool. And I don't even know why we've glorified it and made it cool. We made it cool in the music. We made it cool in the movies. We made it cool, all of that. But you got to understand, all of them people as actors, even rappers, they don't even do most of that stuff that they doing. So you trying to live your raps and trying to do all of this foolishness so that you can get some stripes and some street cred to prove to who? To what? Because your mama needs you and you're going to be locked up. And you're going to put her at a disadvantage because now she got to be spending money and putting it on your books in order for you to survive in prison because you getting your cornbread taken by somebody else and your boyfriend now got a boyfriend in it.
I'm telling you. Anton is telling you just like I'm telling you. Like I said about that guy. He went from being feared in the streets to being tortured in prison. That's actually the title. Feared in the streets, but tortured in prison by his own people that he rocked with on the streets. Because the police told him that your group told us everything. And they didn't say nothing. But he really believed the police and told everything. And as I told you, they beat him up and he had to be flighted to the hospital and had to be all fixed up. And the first time, he wasn't beat up as bad. The second time, he had to be flighted. Listen to what I'm telling you. Flighted to the hospital. That means they had to use a helicopter to transport him to the hospital. That he was injured that bad. It's not worth it, bro. A gang is not worth all that. I'm telling you now, the streets ain't worth all that. Go to work, get a job, start your own business, grow within your company, something. Because being flighted to a hospital is not what you need. That's not what you want. That's what happened to this guy. Because the police made him believe that his people told on him. And he really didn't. And they really didn't. It's not worth it. He went from being feared in the streets, blasting up people's houses with those push button machines, using those push button machines, blasting up people's houses, taking stuff from people, taking stuff out of stores, putting those push button machines to people's heads, putting push button machines to people's backs and doing all that. And when him and his people got caught up, he was the only one singing like a canary because he was told by the police that his people already was singing like a canary. And none of them was. It all came out because he was the only one that was singing like a canary. So everybody knew it was him. And all his people tortured him. In the penitentiary. It's not worth it, bro. Let's get back into it.
This is dumb, bro. It's dumb. I heard that they indicted and snatched up over 32 young people. And my first thing is, I always try to figure out who is these people's parents and how are they just allowed to just run around in the streets and do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. And nobody is holding these people accountable at all. They running around. They crashing out. They being crazy, and nobody is holding these young boys accountable at all. And it is so stupid. It is so minor and ignorant. Yo, I want to be, with my girl. I want to be with my kid. I want to be able to go to Thanksgiving dinner. I want to go to trips. There's places in the United States of America that I ain't seen before. I think I'm trying to get locked up and be hanging out with a bunch of hard legs inside of a prison cell.
You remove the mask.
Advertising.
Do not tell me that you are cursed.
No, it's not that.
Besides, and
I ain't never seen that as an idea for.
And you got to realize, like, especially a dude, I even just think about myself, a person that's like in their 20s and 30s, a dude, he out here kicking it with chicks and, trying to have a successful relationship with a woman, trying to date, trying to get married, or, whatever, or at least be in a successful relationship. And you probably have been intimate every night with your chick or every other night, or, you know what I'm saying? Or with different chicks, or however you do your business, right? You think that as I hear the people who I watch a lot, who tell prison stories, and I do their reactions and all that, as they say all the time, you think that goes away? Because you in prison, you wanting to be intimate with a woman? Oh no. Some men can, handle it and, do what they got to do. Maybe there's a pretty CO or a decent looking CO or something like that. But some people, they really, they sex drive is off the chain. And you know what goes on then. Oh yeah. They kicking it with one of the boys. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because it don't go away. They going into the boys' pimp, and because they got all that going on in prison too. They going to the boys' pimp and trying to keep it under the wraps. They getting extorted, have to pay extra money so other people don't know what they doing and all that. Oh yeah. Someone actually don't care after a while and be in serious relationships because they got their whole life, or they got 30, 40, 50 years to do and all that. So, yeah. They got to really pretend, they got to change up and really pretend that this other dude is a woman and all that. You don't want to have to go through all that. So, the best thing is to stay working, stay doing the right thing, grow within your company, and try to stay on the straight and narrow as best as possible. Because you could be like, oh dude, tortured in prison, feared on the street, but tortured in prison. Or be like the other dude, where the dude that he felt was rocking with him, the Caucasian dude, who felt like the dude was rocking with him, the black guy, that where he was grabbing his stuff during the riot, thinking that the guy was gonna save him, and the dude really closed the door behind him in the cell and told him, you should have never came to prison, and did things to him that you usually would only do with a woman. Crazy. You don't want to be like that? Then figure it out. Get a job, grow a business, start a business, grow within your company. Something. Let's get back into it.
Whatever.
Wake up. Don't throw your life away to some little ass blocks on a little ass dot in the world. This world big as shit compared to little old Philadelphia, y'all.
So today we've made arrests of the following individuals associated with the Young Bag Chasers, YBC.
Never mind.
Stephen Weddington, Jameer Burbage, Kasim Brown, Jerwayne Haywood, Salahuddin Carter, Quamir Hall, and Mark Johnson. We've also arrested in relation to campers, clappers with a C, clappers with a K, CCK, the following individuals: Hassan Stafford, Nasir Wells, Anthony Woodson, Herman Siegel, and Ronnie Vincent Kwan. Associated with the Parkside Killers, referenced as...
This is the art right here that was absolutely crazy when I was trying to do the reaction video to this earlier, and I accidentally pressed time lapse instead of record. The Parkside Unalivers. What? Why would you name your group that? Like, that gives everything away. These young kids is crazy, yo. The Parkside Unalivers. What? Who would name their group? I mean, that almost just gives everything away. These kids is slow, yo. That's why you got these people out here snitching and all that and doing everything else too, because they just so slow. The police can easily manipulate them into believing they people told on them. Similar to, like I said, the prison stories. Similar to the guy that I told you he was the head leader of the gang out on the street, you know, blasting up everything with them push button machines, taking people's cars, doing everything under the sun. And the police was able to manipulate him into believing his people told everything when they didn't say nothing. And his people ended up, as I stated earlier, torturing them in prison. Feared on the street, tortured in prison. And then you got people like this. Parkside Unalivers. What? That gives everything away. They know what you're doing. What? I would never, if I was so deep out here, I would never be a part of a group or create a group and name it the Parkside Unalivers, because that gives everyone. I wouldn't name it Car Taker or Thief or nothing like that. What? Nothing that will give away that I'm out here moving like that. What? It's always the slow ones, bro. Let's get back into it.
The Parkside Killers. Why would anybody want to be affiliated with the Parkside Killers? Jesus.
Okay. There have been arrests made for Marquise Muhammad and Paul Beckwith. And we've also made arrests for individuals who are associated in terms of their criminal involvement with these groups and with these individuals who are driving crime. And those individuals would be Hassan Muse and Tatiana Edwards. So of the arrests made, these span a number of incidents between 2022 and 2024. A number of those are shooting incidents, and others are homicides.
It's so sad seeing these young boys.
And you know what the worst part about this whole situation is that most of us that be living in these cultures and in these neighborhoods, we know who these people are. But shit, we don't even have to know who they are. They all on Instagram, they making rap videos, saying and talking about all of the crimes that they doing. They don't have no shame. They don't have no kind of regard for human life. They taking people's lives, they terrorizing the neighborhood, they shooting each other, they killing each other. And so after 3 or 4 years, they let y'all kill each other up, and then the rest of y'all, they round y'all up, throw y'all in a prison cell, because you got to understand, they getting paid to watch you and to gather evidence and to subpoena Instagram and Apple about your text messages, and they know what you're doing, and you're over here in your videos, and you get a chain or two so you can get more chains around your wrists and around your ankles, and then you get held accountable that way. This is the dumbest stuff that I've ever seen in my life, bro. I'm just so disgusted. I'm so disgusted at what I see happening in the streets. And I just pray for these young people. I pray for the parents that had kids that ultimately turn to the streets and that you ain't got no kind of control over your young kids and they running around with guns and drugs and they dealing them to the neighborhood and all of this stuff. This is the dumbest shit that I've ever seen in my life.
18 of them get indicted and probably will never see the light of day. And what's sad is they fighting the same damn devil that they daddies and they granddaddies fought. The devil does not change the game. He just changed the players. Ain't nothing changed, but y'all be thinking people old instead of listening and learning because they've been too worried fighting each other, but not fighting the damn devil. Y'all should have been doing drill music about the devil because that's who got you. Y'all so worried about one another whole time you fighting the devil. That's who got you. That's who just won. The feeling that y'all experiencing right now in themselves being stuck is the same feeling the devil experiences down in this world, and he wants everyone to feel it with him. He can't get to heaven. The Lord kicked him out. He's stuck, and he wants everyone to experience that feeling right along with him, and he got you. But not only has he gotten you, he's gotten your family, your children, your mama. Everybody is a part of it now. These kids need to know who their real enemy is because he's kicking y'all asses. He gets y'all to do it to one another. Then he comes back and gets you after the job is done. Once he's done with you, he's used you up, got you to go out there and do all this shit. Now he comes for you. And not only is he coming for you, but he's coming for your children because now your daughters don't have a father to protect them. Your sons don't have a father to teach them how to be a man. Women are unprotected. And if they ain't got the money to do what they need to do, who knows what they may decide to do. It's a whole nother legacy, a whole nother generation that the devil has taken down. Y'all better realize who y'all real enemy is. Stop killing each other and start killing the devil. That's what I know.
And you know what the funniest part is? You know what the most hilarious part about this whole situation is? Is that they'll sit there and tell you that you a lame, you a square, you a sucker, you a this, you a that. And they'll tell us, right, the people that's free, about how, we don't know no better, we not this, we not that, so on and so forth, and all of this stuff. And I think that it's the funniest thing ever to know that you'll never, ever be able to get through to them, but it's the system that got to break them down. And then they want to come out and start telling you and preaching to you and telling you, hey, man, we shouldn't do this. And you, fam, when you had the opportunity to make something good of yourself, when God could have used you, and that's not saying that God can't use who he will, because he'll use who he wants to do whatever it is that he want to do. But when we was trying to convince you to chill out and sit down so that God can get the best of you and, in your prime, you wanted to go out here in these streets and be in these streets doing stuff that you wasn't supposed to do. And that's messed up. And now your kids is going to have generational curses because they got to raise themselves. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.
Are you researching dental?
Bruh. I basically, I know all about this all too well. Watch a lot of, wanting to be a homicide detective. Watched a lot of, things like First 48, Snapped, seeing things in my life, so, this world is definitely becoming wicked, man. It's definitely becoming wicked. The stories that I hear from the people that tell prison stories, and for me to react to them, and I've talked to people on the phone who have been in prison and whatnot, and have got some insight even from them, and that they wish that a lot of young people out here would listen, all of that. So, tell me what you think. Drop a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. The Parkside Unalivers. That's crazy. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I'll catch you on the next one. And, I'll have the link to Anton's video at the top of the pinned comment, like always, and in the description. And Anton will have the links back to the original content creators and obviously the police department and all of them in his description. And I'll catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace.